Hi there, Tommy with Wasteland Maniacs. Today we'll look at the cards 41 to 50 in the first set Lovable Lunatics. We'll start off with a ranged thermal unit with one single purpose: to kill everything. Scorcher is a big, hot lava elemental that launches fireballs at your enemies in an effort to make everything die. And it does this via a few things. Firstly, it's a ranged unit, so there aren't many units that can deal with it currently aside from hybrid units. But regardless of what you throw at this guy, it will take a lot of damage. 5 attack is a lot, and combined with Thorns 2, Scorch can dish out 7 damage during combat without breaking a sweat. The only downsides are the low health and very lopsided armor. Only thermal damage will not damage Scorch instantly, and with 3 HP it can be killed pretty easily. In addition to that, 2 power is very bad for a level 5 unit, but for this card not to be completely overpowered, this is an effective way of balancing. In my third card showcase video I talked about returning guards from the graveyard. Now let's talk about destroying them. At least that is one of 2 options you have with Pry and Pull. It is an electric and thermal skill with level 5 and a power requirement of 4 that is just very versatile. The first option grants you the ability to straight up get rid of any guard in your way. Alternatively, you can choose the second option and mess with your opponent's hand, because then you get to see all their cards in hand, and as long as their hand is not full of units you get to force them to discard a card, which means that you can even get rid of their energy sources and thusly preventing them from playing as much cards. With card number 33 we get a little more tame with a simple but effective skill. Bullet Storm is meant to sort of fit in with Lightning Shot and Dynamite, and that is a ranged, lower level skill that deals damage and does nothing more. However, I still want these skills to feel unique to their respective types, so this is why Bullet Storm deals only 1 damage, but to all units of an opponent of your choice. Outside of that, there isn't much to say about this card. Against decks with smaller units, this skill becomes increasingly effective because, let's be honest, otherworldly forces like Harbinger of Bane don't care that much about tickling metal pieces. Now we get to a favorite unit of mine, Sickle Butcher. It probably is one of the most balanced units currently in the game, and I'll tell you why. Apart from the power of 3, this guy has pretty subpar stats, not a lot of armor and attack or HP. He doesn't even have armor against electric and thermal damage. However, he has one ability I really enjoy. The bleed keyword is an interesting one, because it doesn't reap you any benefits right away, however it sets all unit Sickle Butcher damages on a race against the clock. In my video on status effects I talked about how bleed works. Basically it makes it so that the bleeding unit permanently loses health over time, killing it eventually. This unit forces your opponent to play aggressively even if they don't want to let their units go to waste. So just a card that can be very powerful if you know how to use it, and otherwise nothing too flashy. Card number 45 is called Innocent Flower, and it is a typeless level 5 card that serves as universal protection against melee combat. All melee units can attack you or units you control, meaning you have the absolute rule over melee combat. Your melee units can still be counterattacked if you choose to attack other melee units, but apart from that there isn't much your opponents can do if they only or mostly have melee units on the playing field. Melee skills can still be played though, and hybrid units are not affected, but still this card restricts your opponents. The only downside to this supremacy in melee combat is that you yourself take a big hit. You have to return all your units with power 4 or higher to your hand when Innocent Flower hits the playing field, and melee units to play can be of level 5 or higher, but I think this is an appropriate price. The payoff might be a little low, so I wouldn't put this in every deck, but in certain low-level melee combat focused decks this certainly has its place. Now we get to one of my favorite cards in set 1, and that is Barbed Wire. It is a level 5 card of the thermal and kinetic type with quite the pleasant effect, as long as you're not on the receiving end. This card is your insurance that everything your opponent plays in terms of units eventually dies. All of their units come into play bleeding, so that your units have an easier time dealing with them. And even if Barbed Wire gets destroyed, the bleeding units will keep on bleeding, so at least from my experience during playtesting, this card can be very annoying. Card number 47 is called Mapping Scan, and it is an electric level 5 skill for all classes. It enables you to improve your draw luck in some way. If you happen to draw a few cards or have devolved your hand into an unusable pile of garbage, you can play this card and not discard your entire hand, but simply shuffle it back into your pile. Then you just hope that you get some better cards and work from there. Sigil of the Dead Moose is a card I already discussed in my video on super types, but I'll go over it again very quickly. Basically, this gear saves the equipped unit from dying, and when it actually dies you most probably get a unit named Zombie Moose. Summon version of this card is number 101, but card number 49 is the non-summon version, and apart from that they are the same. So the equipped unit would die, you sacrifice Sigil of the Dead Moose instead, and once the formerly equipped unit dies for real and Sigil of the Dead Moose is still in your graveyard, you get a cool undead Turbine Beast. Zombie Moose itself doesn't do a whole lot. It has low power and to be honest stat-wise overall not much going for it, but at least you get to draw a card when it dies, so that is quite nice. Only against kinetic decks this unit will put up a tough fight due to its 5 kinetic armor. And speaking of unevenly distributed armor, we get to the last card in our video. Panicles Horror has no armor but 5 electric armor, and to play it you need 30 thermal energy straight up. In addition to that, you lose 1 health and have to discard a card when it enters the playing field. But whenever it hits an opponent, that player does the same. It only has 1 attack and 3 power, which is okay for such a steep energy requirement. It does have 1 redeeming quality though, and that is the dash ability. Dash lets Panicles Horror attack ranged units even though it is a melee unit. So if you get its attack up with some gear you can deal with ranged units pretty effectively. That is all of today's cards. If you have any questions or remarks, let me know in the comments. Please subscribe for future content, and with that I say thanks for watching and until next time.